Thank you for joining me, Lindsey Marie Silver, here at Little Egypt Studio in Scotland for week 3 of 8 of this beginner's belly dance course. In this session, we're going to look at a technique known as anchoring. It's something that is going to go with you throughout your entire belly dance journey, and it's something that's very, very fundamental to how to actually isolate movements. I hope you'll enjoy it, and let's dive straight in. So coming into your basic stance, we're going to start off with that refresher of the basic stance and the breathing technique movements that we did in the last session, and then we're going to add on from there. We're going to build on that strong technique, the knowledge that you have, and your ability to produce the movements effectively, efficiently, and in a way that really boosts your well-being and your fun and enjoyment of dancing. So let's come into center. We're going to spread out through toes, relax and release through the feet and the ankles. Bend through the knees, tuck the hips in neutral. You can lift through the rib cage. Bring the shoulders all the way forwards and up. Bring them back and down. Slide the shoulder blades together, slide them down your back. We're going to elevate through the rib cage just an inch or two. And with that shoulder position and the elevation through your rib cage, automatically feel that you can really open up to the world, opening up to deeper breath. Bring alignment throughout the full length of your spine. Your crown of your head comes gently guiding up towards the sky. Imagine a ribbon attached to the crown of your head, just gently lifting you, and the tailbone sinks deeper to the ground. Now take a moment just to feel your connection through your feet to the ground and that alignment through your body. Relax through your knees. Have your knees started to add tension in? Just be aware of that. Just soften out through the knees. Sit down into it. Relax. Nice. Now we're going to bring our focus towards that good quality breath. All right, so here we go. Woo, deep breath in. Expand your belly with the breath. Expand the rib cage. Collarbones can rise. Suspend the breath there. And release. Collarbones come down. The rib cage returns. The belly. Expel all air. And then breathe in. So it's a really cleansing breath that we're using. Wow, it's so health-giving. It's so boosting. It's a tonic. Every single cell in your body longing to receive this kind of breath. Because often we don't usually use our full lung capacity, and often that's when we can end up with, maybe like chest infections, bugs, things like this. And so that quality breath, not only is it going to be really, really good for your dancing and fueling the muscles as you use them, but also you're looking after yourself in a well-being sense as well. So just continuing that breath, expand the belly, the rib cage. Keep the knees soft, breathing out. Let's bring the hands out to the side in a gentle elevation. We're not going to bring too much focus to the technique of that right now, but just bring your hands out in an elevation. This is going to widen your center of gravity, give you a nice wider base, and it gives you a little bit of leverage when you come to move. All right, so in that basic stance, we're going to just now begin to swing the hips. Again, at this point, not too much focus on technique. We're going to add that in a moment. I want to just get you moving. Hips come out one side then the other. What you'll notice is this natural upward swing when there's no technique involved. So an untrained hip slide would have this upward swing. But we want to refine the movement. So if you remember, what we did is we extend the bend through the knee as the hip comes out over to the side, lengthening through the waist on that side. Keep that knee bend nice and deep. Come back in through center. So we take it to the other side. And your weight comes over this foot, and we're lengthening through this side now. So you're going to bring back through center and out towards the side. Lengthen through your waist, and the hip comes out to the side. So the hips are running parallel with the ground there. It's parallel with the ground. If this movement, if your hips were a coin, you've popped the coin down on the floor, it's sitting, resting on the floor, and you just placed your finger on top of it, and you're sliding it across one side, back to center, sliding across the other side, and coming back into center. So it doesn't swing up at the sides like that, it's flat. So let's try that a little bit faster if you feel able to and you want to. You can lower your hands down by your side, just frame through the hips, if it's tricky for you to keep the hands and the arms elevated right now. And your own muscular endurance is going to build with the more that you practice the art form of belly dance, the more that you can dance it. So you'll be able to dance for longer without fatiguing if you practice that deep breathing technique that we did a moment ago. Well done. So we got that slide motion. Well done. Bring it into center here. We're going to take this movement now up into the rib cage, and as you slide through, it's the whole rib cage is going to come out to the side, back to center. Let's try that again. So we're going to slide, back to center. This side, out to the side, into center. Now, you might find your shoulders start to creep up, and you're kind of all like this in here. That's because your focus has shifted elsewhere. Your body is trying to produce the movement through stronger muscles, which is kind of, in one way, handy in everyday life. But in belly dance, we want to refine even the smaller muscles, the movements of those, and light up those areas of the brain that give us the control over not only the large muscle groups, but also the tiny muscle groups that we don't use so much in everyday life. So, let's try that a little bit faster now. So this slide motion, the biggest range of motion, the lever for this movement is your waist. It's the spine, it's the back, and also the belly. Your low section of your rib cage is making the biggest movement pattern. It's coming out to one side and then to the other. Your shoulders just happen to slide along parallel with the floor, similarly to what your hips did a moment ago. So we're not leading the movement with our shoulders. It's not coming from here like this. It's really, this is kind of like Michael Jackson, isn't it? Billie Jean. No. Sorry. Oh, I'm off already. Focus. Okay, so biggest movement pattern, and the lever for this movement is right down here. So you could imagine that you've got a ribbon attached to either side of your rib cage, and you're gently being pulled by that ribbon, one side and then the other. Now, if you remember when we did the hip slide a moment ago, the hips, naturally, if we were doing an untrained movement, the hips would swing upwards, and there perhaps wouldn't be such a bend through the knee. And similarly, in the chest slide, if we didn't refine the movement and work with really good, skillful technique, what would happen is your body would use the larger muscle groups, because it's going to try and create this ballpark movement. The brain's going to say, well, I think what you want me to do is like this. And that might be sort of a similar kind of a movement. But we also want to train up the muscles that currently might be slightly undertrained, or in some cases, very undertrained. So we're going to refine the movement and let it come from here, because if you're strong in your core, strong in your solar plexus, you're more embodied. You're strong in your personal power. You have natural confidence available to you. You're self-assured. Your self-esteem can really flourish. And a whole host of other reasons, like you're protecting your internal organs, and you're protecting your back if all around your core is nice and strong. So there really are lots of reasons that, not just for the fact that belly dance is really good fun, but it is so good for you on many levels. All right, so well done, well done. So this is the slide of the hips and the slide of the chest. So we can take this movement now and we can start to add in an element known as anchoring, okay? You might see this referred to as various different names, or you might actually not have been taught this at all, because as far as I can see, there's not actually many people that will go into this kind of a depth on the biomechanics aspect of things. So what you'll notice is as we're doing that movement there, we're sliding the hip or we're sliding the chest. And we're keeping the rest of the body fairly still and steady. And so I'm going to share with you how to do that, also why we want to do that, and the difference in the way that it feels. So you had a moment right now feeling into what that was like without anchoring. And you would have found yourself, you know, there would have been a little bit of your upper half staying still, but chances are it was kind of, there was a bit of movement in there. So let's really, really refine this. Now, this that I'm sharing with you right now, you're probably going to want to go over this a good few times, because this is one of the fundamentals that makes belly dance belly dance. So it's how to move one part of the body whilst appearing to keep the rest of the body still and unused. Isolation. So first of all, let me explain. Isolation is kind of moving one part of the body independently from others. That's the illusion. I think it's an illusion because the body is all attached as one unit. It's all one thing. It's impossible to move one part of your body without the rest of it being involved. It just is. That's just the law of the biomechanics of it. And so with that in mind, I'm going to show you a really, really easy way to connect with the lower body or the upper body, whichever you're working with, in a little sequence that you can remember so you don't miss anything out. And it's going to take your dancing from very beginner, basic level, very, very quickly springboard you, woo, up to a higher level, if there is a level. What even is this levels that we refer to? We don't learn in this like linear way. It's this weavy, windy path, isn't it? But for the purposes right now, let's refer to it as levels. Okay, so really important then. Basic stance. You're in that basic stance that we have. So you're going to bend through your knees. Yep. Tilt through your hips, lift through your rib cage, shoulders around and down. You can't really do this anchoring technique if you're not in great alignment already. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just relax into there. Just ask yourself, am I still relaxed? Are my knees still nice and soft? From here, let's decide now, are we going to move the upper half or the lower half first? Let's say we're going to move the low half and we're going to keep the upper half nice and still. So if we're going to move the low half, the movement is happening down here, and to anchor through your upper half and keep it still and steady, we're going to use, what are we going to use? So if we've got muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons, what do you think we're going to use? Let's give you a moment to think about that. If you guessed we're going to use muscles, you are so right. So we're going to use muscles. I'm going to give you 3 main muscle groups in your upper half that's going to keep your upper half nice and still and steady. So in that basic stance, what I want you to do first of all is to have a little feel around for that section where your rib cage joins together. Come down from there about 1 inch or 2 and place your fingers in there. We're just going to very gently tap in there. We're going to activate the muscles that are your upper abs. Do that a little bit faster if you want to. So we're activating, we're manually stimulating those muscles of upper abs. 4, 3, 2, 1. You may or may not have physically felt a change there, but believe me, something has happened. The neurological pathways between your brain and the muscles have fired. They're speaking to each other now. Your muscles are ready to move. They're ready to work for you. All right, so we're going to be using muscles of upper abs. We're also going to be using the muscles at the front and the back of your shoulders. So not medial deltoid on the top of the shoulder. You're going to keep the shoulder nice and low, lean, long neck muscles, really elegant. So we're not creeping up like this. We're not activating these muscles. We are going to use the front and the back of the shoulder. So anterior deltoid and posterior deltoid on the back of the body. And a really, really great way of activating those muscles is actually also part of another movement in belly dance. So we're going to bring the shoulders forwards and back, forwards and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you bring one forwards, bring the other side back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa! Bring that into center for me now. Wow. You've just fired up those muscles, the neurological pathway between the brain and the muscles at the front and the back of the shoulders. Well done. So of those 3 muscle groups, we've got 1 left, and it is right in between your shoulder blades. So to activate through here, just imagine bringing your shoulder blades as close together as possible and then release. Yeah? Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. You've got that lemon in between your shoulder blades. You're gonna squeeze a lemon, squeeze, release. That's quite a crazy visual, isn't it? Love it. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. You probably not need to do that so much because often people do carry a bit of tension through there anyway. You're probably activated through there as is. Lower down. Wow. So now we've fired up those muscles. We've connected in the brain. Now, coming into that basic stance, just make sure you're in there again. Woo. And in that space, activate through your upper abs, the front and back of your shoulders, and in between your shoulder blades. Just activate those muscles for me now. Now, if this feels quite difficult to do, just literally without having any force, any opposing force on those muscles, like leaning against something, if that feels difficult right now, don't worry about that. Just know that all you have to do now is think about it, because we've just connected those muscles. Those pathways are sparking. Woo, woo, they're electric. So just think about it right now, and the more that you practice that, the more you practice it, the more that it will just happen, all right? It'll just happen, trust me on that. So with those muscles, upper abs, in between the shoulder blades, in the front and the back of the shoulders, elevate your arms off to the side, and then we're gonna try that slide of the hip. Bring it through center, slide, center, slide, center, slide, center, slide, center, slide, center, slide. And what you'll find is the strength of that movement that you're making with your hips, it's stronger. You'll probably find that your range of motion, so how far you can travel in each movement, is wider, it's bigger, it's a much bigger movement. And of course, visually, your upper half will be much more stable, steady in center. There will be, of course, little fractions of movement here and there, but it's much more refined, isn't it? Do you feel the difference? Let me know in the comments if you can feel the difference there. Well done. We're going to hold this in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow! Well done. Help yourself to some hydration. And let me know in the comments how that felt. We're going to move on and then try the other way round, keeping the other half of the body still and the other half of the body moving. So help yourself to some hydration just now. Fuel up the muscles as you're using them. Well done. So coming into center then. Wow. Mind-blowing stuff. Like I say, this is stuff that's going to go with you throughout your entire belly dance journey. The more that you practice this, the more that it really forms that foundation for everything else. Okay, so we're here. Now what we're going to be doing is activating muscles through the low half so that we can move the upper half independently. So let's have a little shot of that. So we're in that basic stance. Do your checklist all the way upwards. So bend through your knees, tuck the hips, lift through your rib cage, shoulders, chin, crown of the head, tailbone, deep breath. Just bring your hands out in elevation to the side at the moment. So what we're going to do is we've got 3 muscle groups on the low half of the body for you this time. Do you know what they are already? Have you done this with me before? Have a little think. So here's the first one. First muscle group, your calf muscles, your low leg. So you're going to contract through the muscles of calves. Now if you'd like to activate through those muscles, a really good one is to lift and lower through your heels. And just place them back down. Woo! Well done, bring it into center. They're activated. We're going to use the thigh muscles next. That's your second one of the 3. Your thigh muscles. So we're going to contract the thighs. Now I want you to visualize contracting the upper thighs. It's all connected, so you will, of course, activate through low thigh as well, but just visualize the upper thigh. And what that'll help you do is to keep the knees relaxed. So keep the knees soft and relaxed. You're going to contract through your thighs. All right, now a way of activating through thighs would be to sit down gently and come back up again. Sit down, come up, sit down, come up, sit down, come up, sit down, come up. You can do that some more if you want to. You can take that into a squat even. So you're here. So we've got lower legs, upper legs, and then, but relax your knees. Good. And then we're also going to use a little bit of pelvic floor muscles. Using the pelvic floor muscles, it's going to lock the... okay, I'll retract the word lock, but we're going to use that strong contraction through pelvic floor to stabilize. Let's use that word, stabilize. That's much better. Yeah, I prefer that. Okay, so with this, you're going to squeeze through the muscles all the way around from your bum, your undercarriage, all the way around towards your belly button. When you get to there, try draw your belly button and your low abs up and in towards your spine. So up and back. All right. And then we're going to release that. Try that again. Squeeze. So imagine that you've been out all day and you really need to go to the loo. You need a wee, but there's nowhere for you to go. You're going to use the muscles that you would use to stop yourself from having a wee. Okay? I know that doesn't sound very elegant, but it's hey, it's a fact of life. Come on, it happens to all of us, does it not? And so, where you really use those muscles and release those muscles. And what you've added into that, of course, is the work of low abs, the belly button, and the release. So we've activated those muscles. Okay, let's release that, return to that basic stance, elevate through your arms. So then what we're going to do is activate through calf muscles, your thighs, pelvic floor, and then with the hips in neutral, you're going to start to slide. Center, slide, center. Here we go. Slide, center, slide, center, slide. Well done, everybody. Yes, well done. You look amazing doing that. Slide, center, slide, center. Yes? Well done. Good focus. Good strength of contraction. So you're not really gridlocking up those muscles. It's not like so tight that you're holding on so tight you can barely move. It's just a contraction enough to activate through there to form this deep, strong foundation. You can take that all the way through. You can start to flow with it, and you'll notice that the range of motion is much more freer, it's fluid. You've got the balance within the body of the masculine energy and the feminine energy. Yeah, bring your hands in front here. We can slide, 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 slide. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. All the many wows. Help yourself to some hydration. Let's have a little bit of fun. That was a lot of, I guess, theory in there, but also, well, it's very, very beneficial, extremely beneficial to just know what you're doing in terms of anchoring. Here we go. I'm going to change this up. It's a bit loud. So what we had then was that slide. Wow. Bring it down into your hips. Okay, now in this basic stance that we have, bring your hips into center. And I want you to try anchor through your upper half. So use those 3 sets of muscles to anchor through your upper half, your upper abs, front and back of your shoulder, and in between your shoulder blades. Activate through those muscles for me now. What we're going to have a little shot of is a basic Egyptian hip drop shimmy. So we're going to bend through one knee, and that's going to bring your hip on a diagonal, the hip in neutral. Then let's bring that back into center. We've still got a bend through both knees. We're going to take it to the other side, bend, and that's going to bring this hip on diagonal, tuck. The hip's neutral, remember. They're neutral that whole way. We're going to bring it back through center. Now we're going to start to emphasize that drop, 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 drop. Hips in neutral, breathe. Activate upper abs, front and back of your shoulders, in between your shoulder blades to keep your upper half nice and still and steady, still and steady. We can drop, 2, 3, 4, drop, 2, 3, 4, drop, 2, 3, 4. Bit faster. Drop, 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 drop. Drop, 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 drop. Woo! Wow. Nice. Let's take it back. Drop, 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 drop. A little bit faster if you can, if you want to. Drop, 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 drop. Keep it still, steady and center. Hips in neutral. Oh, drop, 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 drop. stunning. Woohoo! Beautiful. Amazing. Like I say, you will want to have a good practice of that anchoring technique. We've used the anchoring technique in this session with some slides and with a staccato movement of the hip drop, building it up into a shimmy. But this is something that's going to go with you in your entire belly dance journey, and it's going to actually serve you well in many instances throughout your everyday life as well. And I'll talk to you about those in the coming sessions. In the next session, we're going to build on this even more. We're going to start to add in using those techniques with lots of fun movements. Cannot wait. Thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit notifications so you can be informed of when the next video goes up. If you'd like to support the creation of these videos, remember you can head along to patreon.com/Little Egypt Studio, where you'll find a community of other enjoyers of these videos. See you soon. Bye.